There are so many fascinating stories in the Bible on emotional intelligence, but the ones that I find most fascinating are that of Jesus, Gideon, and King David. But I always like to relate that of Gideon to Jephthah. But before I go into that of Jesus, Gideon was self aware. He knew that he was incapacitated in certain areas, like he didn't have certain abilities. When the angel told him that he was to lead the Israelites to fight the Midianites, he was like, not me. You know, he was seeing himself from his weakness. And many times you do that. I do. Sometimes I'll feel like, am I sure I can do this? Am I sure? So Gideon was battling with that self doubt until the angel had to convince him the first, the second, the third time before he thought, okay, if you say so, that kind of thing. But from his story, you will discover how he dealt with the Ephraimites. It's quite a story. And because I want to talk about Jesus' emotional intelligence and self awareness, I may not be able to talk about that today. We'll do that another time. King David was also another self aware guy. Like, sincerely, the guy, God really helped him from childhood. He had that self confidence. Even when his brothers were like, come on, who is talking about all these things? Are we looking for a small boy? He said, let me know what it is that the king wants to offer whoever fights this Philistine. He knew that from his record, he should be able to do this, and with the help of God, of course. Now, Jesus. Jesus was self-aware. Jesus, right from childhood, he knew that nothing could, compare to his being. He knew that he was different. He knew that he was the child of God, the Son of God. So when he was missing and his parents were looking for him, he was like, I was about my father's business. So technically, he knew that Joseph was more like a foster father to him. He wasn't his real father. That God was his father, or is his father. And this also played out in his dealings with the devil when he was being tempted of the devil. He used the word of God, but he got to a point he was like, come, you will not tempt the Lord your God. You will serve the Lord your God. He knew that he has the lordship over the devil, being the Son of God. He was self-aware. If you know your place in life, in destiny, things, situation, the devil, circumstance cannot throw you off balance. Shouldn't, because you know what you are called to be, who you are, and nothing can change that. So, being self aware is a vital thing to do. And I had mentioned before, one of the things that you can do to know yourself is ask questions. Self meditation, self inquiry goes a long way. And also, you could ask people around you, they tell you one or two things about yourself, but there is nothing anyone can tell you or should tell you about yourself that you'll be completely ignorant of if you have been asking questions. So be self aware, get into the Word of God, study, and you'll be blessed.